Jamil McKinney is a student and aspiring politician in the Illinois State General Assembly and also is an avid creative person when it comes to telling stories. I am so happy tonight for him to be our guest speaker tonight. And the title of his speech is called To Be Determined. And so we're going to see what Jamil is going to teach us and tell us about this journey that his character is on. So Jamil, I'm going to pin you real quick. And then here we go. And the floor is yours. Let's give him a big round of applause. The floor is yours.
Any other day, one might call me Jamil McKinney. But tonight, I'll be speaking to you through the eyes of a young man named Amal Reed. Amal meaning hope and determination, and the reed resiliently growing wherever it is planted. Now, this character was a young man born in the Bronx. Unfortunately, things were a little bit tough. He's never had it easy. Growing up in a small home with his mother Vera, all he's been able to see, all he's been able to experience is the circumstance that others created for him. It doesn't feel good to be a condition of his time. Everybody else has fit themselves into a box of uncertainty, into a box of comfort. But Amal, he has a different vision. A vision wherein it's not so easy to put yourself into other people's perspectives. It's not so easy to fit yourself into this limitation, this infinitely small space where your potential has no room to grow. Amal Reed has one question that he asks himself every single day. When he's uncertain, when he's confused, when he's scared, when he has to choose between comfort and ambition. And that is, what does it mean to be determined when you don't know the outcome? To be determined. In a world of obstacles that are man-made, in a world where all these placemats are set in front of you for you to reach, in a world where a man will look at you and judge you not by your character, not by what you've created, but by your mistakes, in a world that has a negative bias almost inherently, where we are our worst judges, our worst critics, and yet we still find ways to disparage other people. In a world where society expects you to find a niche and stick to it until you die. In a world that allows people to just be complacent when their leaders fall short. Amal, he never accepted it. He knew how to do his times tables before he could tie his shoes. And when people asked him what you wanted to be when you grow up, he said, I want to be everything. When they said, you can't be everything, he said, well, I don't think that's true. I want you to wonder what society expects from you. When is striving? When is ambition seen as naive? Amal asked himself that question, and I believe that is what it is to be determined. To be determined is not to fit yourself into a box. It's not to be malevolent towards your fellow man, and it's not to adhere to the obstacles of everyday life. It is not to listen to those who tell you you can't be what you want to be, simply because it's a little bit difficult. To be determined is to push forward in spite of the world we're in. That asks you to find your place and stay in it. That asks you to go on this monotonous day-to-day routine of waking up, going to work, and doing it over and over again. To be determined is to deviate from that path and create something bigger. Let's look at the world we're in. Whether it's education, whether it's the economy, whether it's our actual leaders, we all have something to complain about. We're taught to accept what we can't change from a very young age. But to be determined is to strive to change what you can't accept. People see ambition as naivety, as youthful. Meanwhile, they're experiencing their own struggle. Now, your mind craves routine just as much as society expects you to. The security of this monotony overrides any desire that you have to strive for more. Can you think of an example? I can. When Amal went to the army, he enjoyed the simple life. He enjoyed his free food, he enjoyed his free clothing, he enjoyed his free bed. He enjoyed being told what to do every day, and he enjoyed seeing the progress that came with it. He enjoyed how easy things were when you're simply told what to do. But the siren song of comfort is not always beautiful, because after a while that sound, it becomes overwhelming. After a while that sound begins to drown out anything else. And when that happened to Amal, all he could think is, gravity wells. Gravity is welling upon me. I feel like I'm not moving. I feel myself moving through time. I feel every single day passing. But I don't feel like I'm developing as a person. As gravity builds and I'm stuck in the same place, I don't feel like I can improve. I feel like I'm tempted to give in, to stay small, to blend in, because that's what a soldier does. But after a while, it gets tiring. And I'm tired. I'm so tired. And so, Amal began to rethink his priorities. Amal saw a world in which everyone has the opportunity to thrive, in which every leader is determined, in which every leader is productive, where they push the envelope, not because it improves their lives, but because it improves everyone's. Amal sees a world in which people do not see a problem and say, oh, that's not mine, I can't fix it, I'm gonna leave it alone. Amal sees a world in which everyone strives towards the greater good. Let me tell you what it is to be determined. To be determined is not to run away when things get tough. To be determined is not to tell yourself, oh, I don't want to do this because if I fail, it's gonna hurt. To be determined is to understand that everything has risk and taking it anyway. Because that's what ambition is. Ambition is having a dream in spite of how big, just in spite of how difficult, in spite of how extravagant it may be. And Amal, he was told by everyone, and I do mean everyone, you need to stay in your place. You're not good enough for this yet. You don't have what it takes. He lost his friends. He lost his family. He lost his comrades. Because he wanted to be more than what they wanted him to be. And I can relate. I'll deviate away from them all for a second. Deciding to run for state representative was difficult, not because I didn't believe I could do it, but because others didn't believe in me. We moved beyond the struggle within and shared the struggle without. Without an old friend that I used to sit with, that I used to take lessons from, that used to be my mentor, that used to take me to different events, that used to call me every single week, check on me, ask me how I was doing. Without my friend who organizes big, amazing, community-wide events in a city without the support of my people, my loved ones, my family, because they didn't understand what I was doing. Amal felt the exact same, except he wanted even more. And that begs the question, is ambition a gift or a curse when the future is uncertain? Well, that's to be determined. Amal's mother was a strong, independent woman. She walked the straight and narrow all her life. She got good grades. She got into a good school. She followed every single thing her parents told her to do, but she still didn't know what she wanted from herself, so she went to the Air Force. And that, when she finally got her first taste of freedom, was when she made one arguable mistake. She met a man, he was looking fine, he was acing his PT tests, and she bagged him. Lo and behold, a few months later, she was pregnant. Then Miss Vera gave birth to Amal on the very same base in which he was conceived. Her whole life of being a goody two-shoes, all of the great things she'd accomplished were now weighing on her as a facade. Because now she defined herself by this one little baby that was made in a moment of weakness. But did she stop there? Of course not. She didn't let this baby stop her from doing anything. What did Miss Vera do, you might ask? Amal's mother went back to her parents' house after she was done with her enlistment. She said, I need to get my life back together for this baby. She went and got her bachelor's degree. She went and found herself another man. She went and built a life for herself and this child, and whatever he wanted to do, she made sure that he could do it. Whether it was something silly, like show choir, something intelligent, like chess or scholar bowl, something extravagant, like the school musical, or as dangerous as wrestling, she threw money at every single thing this young man wanted to do. Why? Because she didn't want him to go through what she went through. She didn't want him to be confined to a box like she was. She didn't want to be defined by what her parents wanted. But she felt it was too late for her to live her legacy, so she made sure that her child could. And that is what it means to be determined. She may not have been determined for herself, but she was determined to give this child a better life. Now, determination is not blindness. It is not brute force. It is adaptive. It's reflective. And it doubts a lot. Amal was never a man who just sat in his own confidence. He was never arrogant or haughty. He was always contemplative. He always wondered if he was good enough to achieve these dreams, if it was even worth it to keep pushing. What if he failed? What if he wasn't able to inspire anyone to do the same? What if they saw him as an example of what it means to be too ambitious, to be too determined? And then he reflected on all the great things that he's done in the past, and all the people he's touched, and all the people he's fed, all the people he's clothed, all the people that he's helped grow. And he realized, I've already made a change in these people's lives. All I need to do is keep pushing. And as long as I'm alive, it doesn't matter if I'm crawling. It doesn't matter if I'm blind. It doesn't matter if I'm deaf. It doesn't matter if I have all my limbs. It doesn't even matter if I can speak. As long as I'm alive, I can keep touching more lives. I can be determined. And I can be somebody who makes a change. And so, He figured out what it was to be determined. It's an identity. It's not a flaw of arrogance, but a strength and ambition. He accepted that there's ambiguity in his motivation. He accepted that he's not always going to win. He's not going to know all the answers. But as long as he keeps moving forward, he's going to learn something, and he's going to come back stronger the next time he tries. The unknown can inspire even more effort than you thought you could muster. And Amal figured that out every time he failed. Because in his mind, he never failed. He either won or he learned. Listeners, I want you to see yourself as Amal. I want you to think of times when you've been determined, but unsure. I want you to think of all that has been put in your life to help you keep going. Why? Because Amal never made it to his goal. He never got to see his reality realized. But that doesn't mean that you can't. Amal said to each and every person, if you continue pushing forward, then you can create a world that does not exist in anyone else's mind but your own. People all around the world accept a reality that they've been given from their parents, from their society, from their government. But there's so much more you can do. If you're a Christian, then you're called on to feed the sick, to house the homeless, to clothe the naked, to visit the sick. If you're a Muslim, if you're a Hindu, even if you're an atheist, you still have a drive to make a change in this world. At least you did at some point. And I hope that that part of you comes back out to roost. Keep writing your story. Embrace your uncertainty. And let determination be your compass, even when the destination is unclear. Amal may have known he never was going to reach his goal, but he didn't care about that. He wanted to inspire others to be what they didn't know they could be. In his efforts, he touched the hearts of countless people. And now, they know what it feels like to be determined, even if the most they can do is spread it on to the next generation. I wish to be that next generation. I wish to be a state representative, not so I can simply change this area, this little district. I want to be a state representative because I want to go to Congress, because I want to go to Senate, because I want to be president, and I want to change how this system works. This system was not built for the dreams that Amal Reed had. This system isn't built for the dreams that I have. We need effective, productive, dominant leaders who wish to see a better world for everyone. And it takes determination to be there. In order to be determined, you have to be willing to force those who claim they want better to prove it. To be determined, you have to put yourself out in the world as somebody who can be trusted, who can be looked to for guidance, someone who can be a light in a time of darkness. And to be determined, I have continued moving forward even though so many people say that I can't. Because I want to follow Amal's example, and I want to create my own legacy that inspires millions to be determined, to see what they never could before. My friends, you are all to be determined. I have not figured out my path yet. Nobody has. But in order to figure out where we need to go, we've got to be determined enough to look. We've got to be strong enough to keep pushing. We got to be fast enough to move forward, even when the world tries to push us back. We've got to be faithful enough to believe in ourselves, even when the world itself is telling us we can't do these things. We've got to be determined enough to continue striving for what we believe in. I don't even know if I will see the world I'm all envisioned. I don't know if I'll be able to create a world where everyone can thrive, where we can have all these things we need, where we can all live and coexist peacefully without genocide, without war, without unnecessary death every single day. But I'm determined to make it happen. I'm determined to continue moving forward, and I'm determined to cement myself in history as someone who did his best and nothing more. Will I make it that far? Well, as I said, that's to be determined. Thank you.